Good morning. Happy Tuesday. I hope you had a great Memorial weekend and had time to pay tribute to those who have made our freedom possible, who made the ultimate sacrifice for us, and just to appreciate those freedoms. I know sometimes we take those for granted and we just kind of get wrapped up in everyday life and honestly just forget about how good we have it. And I pray that you just were able to take time to honor those that have fallen to fight for our freedom. Today I'd like to talk about our spiritual identity. I had a chance to, over the weekend, just watch a DVR of Gaylord E. Free, Scott Disler, and he was talking about the life of Joshua, and he was kind of wrapping up his series. It was a really good series. I encourage you to go online and check it out. But a snippet of his service was talking about spiritual identity, and he was talking about, at the end of our lives, what is, when we have our physical identity, I'm the daughter of Ralph and Phyllis Hilborn, and I'm the spouse of Dave Marlette, and you go on and on. There's my physical identity. That's who I was here on earth. But how about my spiritual identity here on earth? Who am I, before in God's eyes? And that was really sobering. I'd like to think I have this down. I'd like to think that yes, I'm a servant of God, and yes, I wholeheartedly serve Him, and yes, no matter the circumstance, I'm going to do what's right. But then I take a look at my real life, and I'm like, wow, I'm really falling short of this. My heart's desire at the beginning of this year. My verse for the beginning of this year was Philippians 1:20, and it said, "It is my eager expectation and hope that I will not be at all ashamed, but that with full courage, now always, Christ will be honored in my body, whether by life or by death." Verse 21, for me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. And I wanted my life to reflect a service-driven life, but so many times I get my agenda in the way of this, right? And I was just thinking about that, and he referred to some of the spiritual leaders that have walked in the Bible, like Joshua and Moses. They were known as servants of the Lord. Abraham was known as a friend of God. David, a man after God's own heart. And then I just kind of took it a little further. How about Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? How about their courage, their resolve to do exactly what was right, even when faced with their own fatality? And Mary, I just love her heart, as she's finding out that she's going to be with child and she's going to bear the Son of God. And she's like, how is this going to be? And, and then the angel tells her that the Holy Spirit will come upon her. And she just said, I'm a servant of the Lord. Let it be to me according to your word. And she just absolutely just gave into that. Like, yeah, I want to be a part of your purpose, of your plan. And she knew what an honor that was. How about Paul and Timothy, their evangelism, that they're resolved to take the good news of Christ to as far as they could, and at any expense. And I mean, Paul is writing many letters to churches in prison. It's like he doesn't matter where he was at. His heart was after serving God and getting his good news out there. How about the resolve of Job? I was just thinking about, wow, his own wife. This is the one that's supposed to love you the most, right? His own wife looks at him and says, curse God and die. But he resolved to know that, what, it doesn't matter what's happening in my life. I know who God is, and I'm not gonna let go of that, and I'm not saying he didn't have questions, but he knew that he was walking right with God, and he also knew that his God, whatever he had was still his God, and he honored that. And I was just thinking about, maybe some of the people that have passed and gone before us, how about the spiritual identity they left? I can think of great prayer warriors. I can think of martyrs who laid down their life, and maybe I didn't know personally, but I've heard their stories through missionaries, evangelists. There's all kinds of those who have gone before us who also were like Paul and Timothy, taking the good news to the world. And I just was thinking about my own life. What? At the end of my life, what is God going to look at me and see? Is he going to see my selfishness? Is he going to see that, she was with me most of the time. She did pretty good, right? Or is she going to see, it depended on where she was at, her circumstances, if she was mine, or if she was, is she going to just serve when it's convenient? Is she partially committed, maybe half-hearted? I don't want any of that to be identified with me. And that's easy to say, but it's so hard to do sometimes. I want that consistency. I want to, I'm the same wholehearted Christian at work, at home, at church. I look the same. Maybe it's gonna manifest itself a little differently, right? Or when I'm coaching, all of that. I want that consistency that people can look at me and say, you know what, she's committed. She's gonna do what's right, no matter what the face of adversity. And that's so much easier to say than to do. I haven't been called out to where my life is on the line, and I have to declare my love of God, or be be murdered. I haven't come to that point, and I'm very thankful for that. But I just think about, what in that moment, or how does my life look? How is my spiritual identity? I want to be all in. I want to be chasing God's heart till the day that I die. I want to be serving Him. I want to be, striving for what He has for me, and living out that purpose. And I want my spiritual identity to be, like many of these, a servant of God, a man, a woman after His own heart, the one that'll just resolve to stand fast when everything, nobody else will. And I was just thinking about a couple of verses. Philippians 1:27, it says, "Only let the manner of your life be worthy of the gospel of Christ, so whether I come and see you or am absent, I may hear that you are standing firm in one spirit, with one mind, striving side by side for the faith of the gospel." Am I part of a group? Am I encouraging others? Am I pushing forward with others? Am I unified with them? And I want to be that as well. In Philippians 2:14 through 16, it says, "Do all things without grumbling or disputing," not always easy, "that you may be blameless and innocent children of God, without blemish in the midst of a crooked and twisted generation, among whom you shine as lights of the world, holding fast to the word of life, so that in the day of Christ I may be proud that I did not run in vain or labor in vain." You know what? I want my life to matter. I want my life to not just be lived emptily. That's not even a word. I don't want the emptiness in my life. I want there to be purpose. I want there to be a reason, and I want that to be just wholehearted service to Jesus Christ. I want to be radical, sold out. I'm reading a book right now, Radical, and I encourage you. That's a really good book. But a couple of the verses that go with this. Psalm 1 through 2, it said, "Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of wicked, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates on it day and night." And then in 2 Timothy 2:15, it says, "Do your best to present yourself to God as one approved, a worker who has no need to be ashamed, rightly handling the word of truth." I just was really encourage you to take a look as I had some time to take a look and reflect on what is my spiritual identity, and to be real about that, because it's so easy to say, oh yeah, I do this, this, and this, but when we take a look at our lives, when we take a look at how we spend our time, how we spend our money, how we spend our each and every day, how does that look? Does it look like a life that's honoring God and chasing His heart, or does it look like maybe sometimes, and I just want to be all in, and I just encourage you to take a look at your spiritual identity and what you desire and what God desires for you, and see if those are lining up. I pray that you have a blessed day. You keep fighting the good fight, and thank you for bearing with me as I stumbled over my words this morning. And Lord willing, I'll see you on Friday. God bless you.